project. For 210 unbroken continuous weeks, we have been here every single Sunday, and in the past 4 years and 3 weeks, we have featured 887 presenters from all parts of the world speaking on 210 topics. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a weekly forum being hosted by the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center, a legally registered research and publishing company operating since 2010. And like today, we often partner with the Amina Ghafoor Institute for the Study of Indenturship and its Legacies, led by Professor David Dean, who is here with us. And today we are also honored to be supported by the Indian Diaspora Council, led by Ashok Ramsaran, who is also in the meeting with us. Welcome, sir. In order to continue this weekly program and to make it bigger and better, we are asking for suggestions as well as volunteers and donations, and you can contact Dr. Kumar Mahabir for further details. I will now introduce our moderator, who is Shalama Mohammed, the co-director of this ICC Zoom platform, who is a business teacher and researcher from Trinidad and Tobago. She obtained her master's degree in business psychology from Franklin University in the USA. Shalama, welcome.
Thanks so much, Shakir. Assalamu alaikum, namaste, and a warm welcome to all of you. Thanks so much for choosing to be here with us. This program is being recorded on Zoom and live streamed on the YouTube channel of the Indo-Caribbean Cultural Center. Welcome to all of you on YouTube at this time. To avoid intrusions from trolls, our IT manager, Daryl, has muted everyone. Speakers, please do not admit anyone, do not unmute anyone, and do not allow anyone to share your screen, please. Thanks so much for cooperating. Today, we are talking about a proposed repository of digitized resources on Indian indentureship and its legacies. We are proposing the creation of a single, comprehensive, global digital repository comprising all the links for resources on Indian indentureship and its legacies, serving as a centralized, annotated archive. This proposed website will aggregate links to enhance accessibility to scholarly articles, historical documents, multimedia content, personal narratives, and academic studies, providing detailed annotations and metadata for research efficiency. This proposed repository will foster collaboration among historians, researchers, descendants of indentured laborers, and educational institutions, ensuring the preservation and dissemination of this critical aspect of global history. By integrating advanced search functionalities and user-friendly navigation, the website will support an inclusive, interdisciplinary approach to understanding and teaching the complex narratives and lasting impacts of Indian indentureship worldwide. Where will the links come from? How are we to accomplish this feat, and who will likely partner is what we hope to hear from our speakers today. So let me introduce you to the first one. Mr. Krishna Kumar Pathak is from India. He's a retired senior postmaster. He's a great-grandson of an indentured gurmatier laborer from Fiji and has done genealogy research for people from different countries, including Trinidad, Guyana, and Fiji. Welcome, Mr. Pathak. Can you unmute?
Honorable organizer and coordinator of this conference, Namaste, Sitaram, Ram Ram, Pranam. I am grandson and a grandnephew of indentured laborer who left India 114 years ago for a better opportunity of their descendants. My grandfather Bhavani Bhik left India in 1908 for Fiji without saying anything to his wife and parents. After continuous disappearance, his big brother went to Calcutta to trace him, but he also never returned. After 14 years, my grandfather returned India in 1922 and settled here with his family. while his brother Changa Maharaj was sent to Trinidad and he settled there. Changa Maharaj's grandson, Mr. Baliram Maharaj, is a business magnate in Trinidad and now he is the mayor of Royal Borough of Arima, Trinidad. Being descendant of Girmitia family, I felt that it is my moral duty to assist the other Girmitia families to trace to their original Indian roots. I have done it for many Girmitia descendants of Fiji, Trinidad, Guyana, New Zealand, Australia, etc. I want to give some suggestion in this matter. Number one, digitization of record. Nowadays, it is very compulsory to digitize these records. Republic of Fiji is pioneer and champion in the matter that it has digitized its all 60,500 e-passes. But other diaspora countries like Mauritius, Suriname, Guyana, South Africa, and Trinidad are not taking keen interest to digitize it. UNESCO has treated these indentured records as document of national importance. Whenever it would be digitized, anyone can trace his ascendants' details from any part of the globe. Number two, tracing old record in India. Tracing old record in India at district record center is too hard as they are not digitized. Two old records below 1900 are very hard and rough as they are too old record and also they are written in Urdu, Persian language in Uttar Pradesh and in Kaithi in Bihar, while expert persons for Urdu, Persian and Kaithi are not easily available to trace the old records, and also paper and regular register are in very poor condition, while records after 1900 there is a better condition and easily traceable because they are written in Hindi. Point three, difficulties faced in remote villages of Girmit areas. We suffer many difficulties to trace Girmitia village, like villages are in remote areas, lack of transport to remote villages. Sometimes we have to go on foot too long distance and return same way on foot. So sometime in a strange village where we ask for a person who left centuries ago, people see us as stranger or spy and they do not tell right thing. Sometimes some villagers too afraid of whether their far relatives in foreign countries will divide their property. So they hesitate to tell truth. I think old and older people are going to die and current generation do not know more about their older past, generally in rural area and especially less educated society. They know their father name as 100%, grandfather name 70%, great grandfather name 10%, great 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 grandfather name 1% or less. Being a civilized person, it is our duty to tell our descendants the old story of the ascendants, name and work to the future generation. A big obstacle for bond connection between India and diaspora countries is lack of direct flights. It causes the journey very expensive. If any flight from India to Trinidad, Guyana, Suriname route and another flight from India to Fiji is possible, I urge all diaspora countries to look possibility of direct flight on above routes. I hope my short speech will encourage Girmitia descendants to trace their roots and history too. If anyone wants any assistance and support from me, kindly WhatsApp me +919453418612 or write me on my email address Krishna Kumar Pathak 9@gmail.com. Once again, Namaste, Sitaram, Jai Sri Ram. Together we aspire, together we achieve. Thank you.
I like that. And National Watchwords of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we see you've done your research well. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for your very, very enlightening presentation. We understand that the significant economic costs of doing the research would be reduced if you had digitized resources to rely on. We also recognize the challenges that you face when you go searching within the villages themselves. So no easy feat. Thank you so much for sharing that. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take your questions now. So please raise your electronic hand as Chand Gupta has done. And Chand, please go ahead, unmute.
Hello.
Yes, Chand, we can hear you.
I want to ask Mr. Pathak, what is the website which he claims has the digitized records of all the Girmitians in Fiji?
Okay, thank you, Chand. So Mr. Pathak, Chand wants to know what is the name of the website, or whether you can share the link for the website in the chat, the website that you speak about, which contains digitized records for Fiji.
That is, if you trace on Google Girmitia, girmit.org, GIRMIT.org.
Okay.
I have already been on that website, and it only has records from alphabet A to N. It does not have all the records of the 60,595 Girmitians.
Okay, so Mr. Pathak, what she's saying is that that particular site does not have all the records for the Girmitians who went to Fiji. Can you comment, please?
I think I have seen it, and it has posted all another website is NLA, National Library of Australia.
All right, that is where I found all the records, but you mentioned that it was limit.org, which is in Fiji. Fiji does not have it because the National Library of Australia has the records from the CSR, which was the Colonial Sugar Refining Company, which was operating in Fiji. They have all the records in Canberra. So Girmitia.org, that site which was started off by somebody on their own, only goes up to M full records. N only has 28 records. But there is another one, Global Girmit Institute, which is currently running by Ganesh Chan. He has started digitalizing, but it is not complete.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that, Chan. So for just to recap, the records for all of the Girmitias from Fiji can be found at the National Library of Australia, Canberra. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Chan. We'll take a question now from Mr. Moti Suklal. Welcome, sir. Nice to have you again.
Thank you very much. Turam. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, good morning, whichever part of the world you've joined in from. Just a couple of questions. I would like to thank Mr. Pathak for his excellent presentation. Just to pick up on one of the points that he made, which we actually experienced. When we went to look for the village that my father came from, we went, as I said in my last presentation, accompanied by local police, because we didn't have the correct name for the village. And he took us there. And eventually we did find a village, which I do believe be the village that my father came from. But, while we were there, we did not suspect anything, out of the contrary, out of the normal of what we were observing. But it turned out that, and we gathered this from our guide, who was with us, together with our driver and the police officers. And he was mingling around with the locals, with the villagers. And apparently they were very suspicious of us because they thought we were there, although a lot of them knew nothing. I would say majority of them never heard of this migration of people from India, and in particular from their village. And they were very suspicious, and they thought we were there. And we didn't get this information until we were on the way back, going back to Lucknow. So yes, that was very sad, and I did try to communicate with the police officer after we got back, but of course I got no reply. I don't know what happened in the end, whether there was any problems concerning him, villagers, and his superiors. So I never heard back. So that was very sad. But yes, very important point that was raised there. Going back to digitization. When I was in Guyana a year ago, we visited the Walter Rodney Museum, where the archives is, and the records for indentured laborers are now stored. I had a lot of trouble finding, the papers for my father, my grandparents, because I wasn't sure where they were, whether they were in the GPO building, or whether they were in some other part of the GPO building. I was made to understand that yes, there were two sections to the GPO, and they did have an archive section. And apparently there was a fire some years ago, and I don't exactly know when, but apparently some of the records were destroyed. Remaining records were transferred to the Walter Rodney Museum. and they are now stored there. While at the GPO building, they were in a terrible state, my understanding, and no system of filing them. It was very, very difficult to find the record of an individual. But when we went there, we asked the archivist, because we couldn't actually go to the archive, but spoke to the archivist, who was very keen to digitize the record, but he pointed out limitation. And most prominent one was, of course, resources, financial resource and manpower resource. He didn't have skills, the manpower, the skills necessary to do the job. And of course, he mentioned other things like confidentiality of the records and the fragility of the records. And I wondered, if this was part of your plan to digitize, records of indentured laborers or girmits, whatever you wish to call them. Is that part of your process? And if so, how do you engage with somebody like the archivist in Guyana, who, my feeling, was very keen to bring the whole system up to 21st century presentation? So how do you propose to bring them on board, and how do you overcome these difficulties if you share those difficulties in your undertaking?
Okay, Mr. Brown. Thank you. Let's get a comment, a response from Mr. Pathak, please. Mr. Pathak, can you reply?
As he is saying, that is true, but ultimately we get the address after we get record from record center, and there are difficulty, as I have stated, to like that person, but ultimately we get it address. If he want to any assistance from me to get his ancestors' address, he can write to me.
Okay. All right. So we'll put your information in the chat so that anyone can reach out to you if they need you. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will move on now to our second speaker. And this is Tanya Sitaram from Suriname. So Tanya is an historian, researcher, lecturer, writer, archivist, storyteller, and journalist, and a whole lot of other things too. She's the author of a book on Indian female indentured laborers and co-author with Sanju Hira of 10 volumes of Calcutta letters. Welcome, Tanya. Tanya, you're able to unmute?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I have a problem with internet. Sorry if I lost internet connection. Shall I share my PowerPoint presentation? Is it
Sure,
okay?
or would you like Shakira to share it for you?
If it's not going, then I would like to do it
Okay,
it's
somebody's
going. So
sharing.
I'm sharing.
Okay, we can see it. Yeah,
Let me put it in full screen.
sure.
And it will go like this. Yes.
Very good.
Okay. Namaste to you all. Today, I will focus on the importance of digital access to archives for researchers and other interested people, the challenges I experienced while doing research, and why I think it is important to have access to digital sites where researchers and others can find information. With the migration of British Indians to various colonies as indentured laborers, among other things, also various documents have been created. Some are